Okay, yesterday I was going to try to make an updated version on reloading for the 43 Spanish. I've made a couple videos back, I think one of them was 2012, and I'll put links to them in this video. There's two different types. And in those videos I explain the brass and stuff that I'm using. So what it all started with is I came across another Remington rolling block. Now, I have a Argentine contract one, which is different. This here is what you would call the generic Remington rolling blocks. I have not done a video on this yet. Okay. What this does, it has no markings other than on the tang. It has the Remington thing. It has a HP stamped on the barrel, and the sight is kind of, there are some numbers on the side, 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever. So Remington made a bunch of these rifles. Actually, the rolling block, the original military style ones, were manufactured from 1867, I believe, until 1888. The old black powder style. Then after 1888, the gun was manufactured way into the 20s. They used different steel, and with smokeless powder, it's the same action, but it's a variation of it. It's a little bit different. These older ones are quite common, and most of them don't have the caliber marked on them or anything like that. So it can become problematic. And there are several misconceptions about these guns. That particular gun right there, like I said, that's a generic style. Remington would make them and sell them to anyone. Okay? And they were made in 43, what is called the 43 Spanish. Now, it's kind of confusing. There are 3 different cartridges that are referred to as the Spanish cartridges. One was an early version, which has a 454 bullet or something, the Reformado or something. It's a straight wall case with a larger bullet. Then there's this here, which we all kind of call the 43 Spanish, which is a necked case. This can be referred to as 11.15, the 11 millimeter, or the 11.15 by 58 are Remington. So there's all these nomenclatures and stuff out there. It's all pretty confusing. So you had the old straight wall case with a larger bullet. You had this here, which most people recognize, the bottleneck case, is the 43 Spanish. And there was some sort of a carbine version. They went in them little tiny carbines that basically had less black powder in it, but I think a larger bullet. So be aware. Just because someone says 43 Spanish, okay, doesn't mean that's the chambering you're getting. And these guns were rechambered and screwed with, and there's all kinds of variations. You may have to go and take a chamber casting to see if the gun has been modified or changed. Okay, a lot of people do this. This is why I'm kind of making this video, to bring up these problems, okay, with the cartridge, with the guns. Alright, now I was going to just do a quick video and say, hey, look, I got this gun, I made these cartridges, go through the reloading process, which is pretty simple. And I did spend half an afternoon making videos of me reloading these cartridges. But when I was covering the cases in that, and a lot of people who look for my videos about reloading are looking for specific information. Now, like I said, you can buy the dies from Lee, they're not expensive, and you just reload this pretty basically like reloading a lead bullet on anything. Okay, you get the correct load data, primer, size it, expand the neck, put the bullet in, seat it, and then crimp it. Okay, there's no, it's basic reloading. But where the problem runs into, and where everyone seeks out my videos and I get a whole billion hits, but they're only looking for 3 minutes, is they have another problem and they're seeking information on this. Now, when I made the original 2 videos back in 2012, cases, and this is the rub, your cases, the brass cases is where the problem's going to lie. They were available from several sources. One was Jameson made them. Buffalo Arms did a conversion and made the case from something else. And of course, Bertram brass made them, which is probably the most expensive brass you can buy, but also is correct. So the problem that lies with the 43 Spanish is, now a lot of people, oh, well, I'll just take this and change it, and you know, some cases you can take like 6.5 Dutch. You trim back a 303 case, you get the neck, you set the shoulder back with a die, and then you go and size it, take your time and elet size it, and you can make the 6.5 by I think 53R Dutch brass fairly easily. Now there's variances in the brand of brass where one type of brass works better, where one will not fit unless you machine the outside of the case, and it can be tricky, but it's not that difficult, okay? If you do some research, experiment, it's not that difficult, but we got a problem with this. What it comes down to is when you wish to find another case to make 43 Spanish, it's in the thickness of the rim. The way this cartridge is has an extremely thick rim, okay, which is like 75, 80 thousandths thick, the rim, okay. There's nothing out there that has that. There's nothing modernly manufactured that can be modified to do this just by sizing or trimming, okay. It's not going to happen. So, that leaves you with simple solution is buy the ready-made brass. Now, here's the problem. People don't want to pay for the ready-made brass. Because if you buy, you know, Jameson is out of business. Okay, I have some Jameson brass. I have some brass from Australia, there, Bertram. I have some Bertram brass, but I believe they all came with the rifle, the Bertram brass, a few pieces of it, not many. And I bought Jameson years ago, back into when they were in business. Okay, and I also bought the cartridge modified, or the case modified by Buffalo Arms, which is a modified 348 Winchester. Okay, but more on this here. So, let me give you the price rundown. If you go and look online, okay, prices. Buffalo Arms, they modified at 384, okay, and I'll talk about that here in a second. They're asking $2.79 a case, and they're out right now. And they may be out for a long time, and then when they get it in, it sells out. I believe Bertram, depending on who you buy it from, it can vary about $4 or $5 a box. But they're sold in 20-round boxes, and it comes out to about $3.56 a case, or about $70 for 20 pieces. And then Track of the Wolf sells something. I have no idea who the brand is. I don't know if it's turned or whatever, but it's engraved, the head stamp. And theirs is $3.39 a case. I'm not quite sure who makes it, and they don't say. So you got 3 options. You know, you can have a converted case, Bertram, or whoever, Track of the Wolf. They don't tell you who it is. I'm not quite sure. Now, so everybody says, oh, let's modify something. I've heard of people using 4570, people reaming the chamber out to get a 4570 piece of brass after modified to fit in there, and all kinds of evil stuff, and basically to wrecking the guns, okay? And it's stupid, all right? If you got an old gun and you want to go and use it, spend the money and buy the correct stuff. I mean, it looks like 90% of the people who contact me do not just wish to take the simple, expensive route. Okay, and the reason Jameson went out of business is because people wouldn't buy their product and they're gone. The reason Bertram is still in business is they're global, and there are people probably in other parts of the world that do buy their product, so henceforth they stay in business. Okay? And a lot of times when I do these unique calibers, I ask people, how many rounds do you need? Okay, granted, when I went and bought 80 rounds of brass, it was either 60 or 80 pieces, so it would be 3 or 4 boxes of Gras brass that Bertram made. They were $90 for 20 rounds. Okay, so that's upwards. I almost spent $400. But I got brass. It's good quality. It is dimensionally correct. 100% dimensionally correct. The head, the length, everything. Okay? I bought the dies. And I really, have found out that with certain guns, and the Gras is one, the only option you have is a paper patched bullet with black powder. Any other variation ain't gonna work. Okay? And I haven't gotten back to perfecting it yet. There are some guns that you can't get away with, but the 43 Spanish, if you can load a smokeless load, and there's one bullet mold that Lyman makes, which is correct. It's correct shape, correct diameter, everything else, and works just fine. Okay, I'm going to go out and shoot some here in a bit. And there are people that complain that Lyman wants way too much money for their bullet molds. But, Lyman, RCBS, or Seiko make some of the best quality off-the-shelf bullet molds available. And they're made out of iron or steel, whatever you want to call it, other than aluminum. And if you want good stuff, you're going to have to pay. If you want the correct things, you're going to have to pay. And that's what I'm trying to tell people. I make these videos, and it's like I get all these emails and this and that. Well, how do I do this? Well, you buy these dies, you get this brass, and it's all pretty straightforward and simple. And most people are asking me for a way to circumvent this. Okay, like, I know if I made the reloading video, I'll get all these, well, how do you make your brass? Can you make the brass? Well, in a way you really can. And like I said, the one option, okay, we'll get down to this. The one option to do this is to take this 348 brass. And what you're going to have to do is two things. One, this base diameter is too wide, so this is going to have to be turned, this base diameter. Two, the rim is not thick enough. Now, there was a guy out there that made a video and said, oh yeah, and he's showing a drawing that the 348 rim thickness is correct, and it's not. The rim thickness on a 348 is 60 thousandths. You need 7580, so that's about 20 thousandths more to put on there. Now there's only two ways to do that. Either you have to make a little ring, press it down on there and braze it in, and then remachine the whole base of the case. Or there is a way which is called swaging. Okay? And I have a swaged case. I bought some of these from Buffalo Arms years ago. And I explain that in my videos. And basically what you have to do, if you see there's a cutout on the base where they cut the thing out like with a parting tool, and however they do it, you have to use a hydraulic press and tons of pressure. They squeeze, you push down on the case into a swaging die, and that's that little rim on the back is. They push out, they push down, so your back is here and you push this forward at 30 thousandths, and then when your rim, if you measure that and get on the back, it's kind of hard to measure it, but if you measure it, it comes out to 80 thousandths. What they've done is push the edge of the rim out, and the back of the case is there. They've moved it 30 thousandths up or so, so 20 thousandths. So now, when you put this in, it will headspace, okay, against the plate. People will argue it's a necked case. So you're going to headspace off the shoulder like a modern cartridge. Well, the problem with that is, with rim cartridges, when you put them into the rolling block, especially, close the latch, that thickness is off 20 thousandths, which is too much. And when you fire the case, it's still going to put pressure up against that back plate. And guys have said that if you repeatedly do this, it will screw up the block that locks the end of the barrel, and it will break the firing pin. Okay? So getting something that's kind of close without thinking about the headspace, and people have told me, well, I'll put a rubber O-ring down there and take it up, and that still doesn't, you must headspace the cartridge correctly, because probably when you hit it, it's going to move and compress the washer, then go off and push back. So you're having a high pressure cartridge bounce back and forth inside your chamber. Alright? Try to tell people this, they don't want to listen. Alright? My solution is just buy the correct brass from Bertram, or get this stuff converted from Buffalo Arms when they have it, or go to Track of the Wolf and see what they get. You can order 1, 2 cases, just see what they get. I might do that just to see what the hell they're selling. But I will tell you what, in closing, since you're such loyal, wonderful subscribers, I did go out and look about this swaging thing. I've seen some information on it, because you do it also for the 43 Mauser, and probably trying to get something for the Gra would also use this technique, because they have them weird heads on the case that are similar to this, and you can swage that into this 348 Winchester to somewhat make that. Okay, so I had to look for a book on conversions, which I have Don Lee's book on cartridge conversions, which is still available. He does not cover swaging. When it comes to the 43 Spanish, he just says Bell Laboratories, which became Jameson, but that company's out of business, buy their 43 Spanish Basic. You might be able to get it from Bertram, because there are a couple other cases, the Spanish 45, and then a very similar, the early Verndl cartridge was much like that too, and the only way to replicate that is to use the 43 Spanish because of the rim. So there's like 3 cartridges that do use that rim, okay, that are very, very off the wall, and you don't hear about a lot, and there's not a lot of people shooting them out there. Excuse me. But yes, so I had to buy another book. The book was printed, I found it on Amazon, and it's another guy that wrote a cartridge conversion book. And he has a lot of stuff about, in his book, there's this swaging and stuff, which is not covered in Don Lee's book. I just seen it on one of the forums. I went on Amazon real quick, and somebody had this book. It was printed in 1968 or 69. Okay, so I believe it's out of print. There was one left. So I just ordered the damn thing, for the cost of a box of cases. I got a reference book, and I'm going to investigate this and see what is involved in the process of doing the head swaging. And I'm going to look in to see if there's a way I can do this, or process, or how it's done. You can get it done from Buffalo Arms, They obviously have it set up to do this. And another thing, these cases, you know, everybody's trying to save money. These 348 cases, I think, and this is a Jameson case. This is where I bought the last batch of them. 4 conversions, okay? And they're out of business. But Starline Brass does make it, and I believe it's $1.27. It's like $1.30 when you buy them in lots of 250. Okay, then the 500 is down to something else, and then it's down to I think $1.15 or something if you buy 1,000. So that's 1,100 and some odd dollars for 1,000 of these. You can still get them. So finding an industrial way to convert these with machinery is the way to go. And yes, you know, I'll charge you $1 to do it once I figure out how to do it. So that's kind of my update on the 43 Spanish with all these things going on and the coronavirus and all this crazy stuff. It's been kind of hard, and I've been trying to make some videos getting back into my antique reloading, but that's my update on it, and I'm going to do some more research and see if I can come up with some solutions.